knowledge is and how much it can enrich the world around you. Our first speaker will be Greg Peterson, who sits behind me on the stand, and we can now figure out where his family is. Greg is, he is many things, all of which are good as far as I can tell. But more than anything else, Greg, to me, represents the quintessential entrepreneur. Greg sees problems and needs that no one else does, and he then solves these problems or provides the means to meet those needs. In the past, he has founded many computer-related businesses and run them successfully. More recently, he saw the need to create a garden oasis in the middle of the barren downtown Phoenix, and so he created one. You'll hear more about this in a minute. Our second speaker is Janie Pearl. And she's got some family and friends here too as well. What distinguishes Janie is her remarkable record of community service and social involvement. She has led efforts to fight social oppression, combat sexual violence, and promote community justice. Janie has been well recognized for these efforts, having earned awards with such well-known names attached to them as Cesar Chavez Award, Sandra Day O'Connor Award, and even Gates, a few of us know that name, an award named after that rich fellow. Including being a Truman finalist. Some of you know there was a president named Truman once who, in his name, has one of the most prestigious awards offered to college students. Janie was recently spotlighted in the faculty newsletter as a student so worthy of our attention that the 2,000 faculty that make up Arizona State University were introduced to her. Pay them your full attention, please. This is the last lecture you'll get, and this one's free. They have great words of wisdom for you, and I'll present them to you in that order. First, Greg Peterson.
Thank you, Dr. Ellsworth. Yesterday, I received a card in the mail from a longtime friend who is battling a harsh form of cancer, and the card brought me to tears. So I wanted to share it with you. So last night I was rewriting my speech. The card read, "Somewhere in you is a song that plays softly, always. A song you can hear only if you are very quiet, very still. A song of life, dreams, and wisdom, a call to adventure, a destiny that is uniquely yours. Take time to listen to your song and discover where it leads you." So I want to ask you, who are you to think that you can change the world? Who am I to think that I can? I think a better question is, who are we to think that we can't or that it is not our job? Because if we don't take on changing the world every day, it won't get done. I think that we all have the potential to be the next Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, or Mother Teresa, if only we would step into our power and make the commitment. Contrary to what you may think, it only takes average people like you and me with a desire to make a difference to forever impact our planet. In our community, I'm known as Farmer Greg, in large part because I have spent the last 14 years running my company, The Urban Farm, in Central Phoenix. During this time, I have realized that the structures for creating food on our planet are severely flawed. We overtax the resources that we have to grow food and abuse the ecosystems that have for so long supported life. This is truly an unsustainable system. Each moment that we continue in this direction, we are stealing our children's future, an environmental debt that doesn't make sense. A few years ago, I planted 2 fruit orchards in Central Phoenix with 100 trees between them. As they were taking root, so was something else. People in my community were watching and wondering, what is this guy doing? So 3 years ago, I stepped out on a limb and started offering fruit tree classes and ended up buying 400 trees, when the year before I had had trouble selling 100 trees. My parents, they thought I was crazy. As it turns out, the community arrived in droves and purchased and planted more than 750 trees, making and surpassing my goal. Fruit trees are neat creatures. They arrive to me about 5 feet tall with a few roots hanging off the bottom. They require a nice, safe place to be planted, fertilizer, regular water and sunshine, the occasional pruning, and before you know it, they're bearing so much fruit that your neighbors go running every time you come around. People often ask me what sustainability means, and I share them the story of my fruit trees. You plant them, and before long, and for many years to come, they give you a plethora of fruit with little effort on your part. Apple and peach trees, they know how to be sustainable. Planting a tree, seed, or an idea isn't much different than getting an education. We arrived here, and after a few years of nurturing, we're ready to go out in the world and start bearing fruit, the proverbial fruits of our labor. My journey back to school started a few years ago with a dream to write a book and a little gentle prodding from an awesome teacher and my parents. I stand here today, graduating with my first degree, well on my way to at least one more. Once I stepped into the possibility of getting this degree, the universe aligned in magical ways to help me bring this dream to fruition. Now we have a whole new set of choices ahead of us. What will we do with our education to nurture it into the future and make ourselves sustainable? How will we go out and make our difference in the world? The story goes that the best time to plant a fruit tree is 20 years ago, and right now. The same could be said for an education. I'm 43 years old, and by the time I'm 48, I will have a PhD in environmental planning and several thousand pounds of apples, apricots, and peaches every year. Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Those small groups start with you and me and expand creatively to change the world. So I challenge you, and not just those of you graduating today, but all of you, go out and plant a fruit tree. I'll be happy to teach you how. Or plant a metaphoric tree. Continue your education, start your dreams, stand up for something, make a difference, find your song. Thank you.